So you have gotten your Rafa up to level 50, or at least like close to level 50, where you could at least start following along with this new endgame build. This is my Ricochet Rafa version 1. Obviously, as time progresses, we're going to be updating this build and making it even better, but at least this is my base game version, and honestly, I think it's pretty dang solid. I'm going to go over everything you need for this setup, from weapons to equipment, firmware, specializations, skill tree, all that fun stuff. But before I get into the video, know you can follow me over on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch at Birdman778. Give a thumbs up on this video. Please let me know what other Rafa builds you are interested in. I'm going to be having an Arc Knives one coming out here very, very soon. Maybe a Apophis Lance one, depending on if I can actually get that working. It's kind of meh, but we'll see. Or, you know, Vex, Amon, or Harlow. Let me know what you're interested in. Subscribe and become a member. And make sure you're checking out this build over on maxroll.gg. Me and many other creators have builds going on over there, so make sure you're going over there and supporting that. Now, let's jump right onto the setup. Now, let's first talk about weapons and what's working for this setup. Obviously, your, beamed tossers, your spread launchers and stuff are going to go really well, but like Jacob's shotguns in general are what I've really been loving for this setup. I've been kind of bouncing back and forth between the Rainbow Vomit or the Hot Slugger, pretty much just depending on how I'm feeling at that time, but honestly, Rainbow Vomit is probably my absolute favorite, just because it shoots cryo, incendiary, and shock droplets, so you're able to get a elemental dot tick on enemies, as well as the fact that it's just a insanely strong Jacob shotgun. Also, a stray that you can get from Pango Bango also works out really well. Pretty much anything where you're just able to run around and do some easy mobbing, because pretty much most of the time your skill tree and everything involving that is going to carry this setup. When it comes to equipment, I really enjoy the triple bypass. It reads Heart Pump. This rep kit has a 3 charges and has a 30% chance to replenish a charge on kill. Very, very nice for the setup. For a couple different things we're going to explain a little bit more once we get into our specialization, but just in general, having a rep kit with 3 kits that I'm able to get back by just using the build is really nice. Also, we have what is known as the crit knife. Essentially is a purple Jacob's throwing knife that has damage and payload. Damage taken by impact target is increased by 15% for 5 seconds, and penetrator augment. Damage to the impact target are automatic critical hits for 5 seconds. If you're able to get that, you are good to go. For my comm, I'm using a Devastating Dancer comm. You can get this from Idolater's Soul. Overdrive bonuses are increased by 100%. Overdrive ends whenever Rafa's action skill ends. Not too big of a deal on that second part, because that 100% bonus is so freaking nice. We're also running a Fireworks shield, which is pretty much the best shield in the entire game, especially for Rafa. Rafa excels with this shield for a couple reasons once we talk in our skill tree. For this, it reads Bundled on Kill, spawn missiles that home in on nearby enemies and deal a 7,000 whatever damage. It as well has the Missile Swarm on Armor Segment Break, launch 3 missiles dealing X amount of damage. Specifically, I would say get a fire version of this for Rafa. Once we get in the skill tree, we'll explain why that is important, but again, Rafa and fire are really good. You can get a regular one and it still do the job, but fire, you'll notice the difference. And as well, I'm just running a Jacob's License part Piercer enhancement. Jacob's License parts have a 20% chance to grant a critical hit. Pretty nice. But I mean, this is pretty much just like the base one I've had on for a while. It doesn't really have great passives. Obviously, I want to work better into that. But at least for this right now, it's completely fine. Let's talk about our skill tree. Obviously, we are running Peacebreaker cannons. Rafa equips shoulder-mounted Peacebreaker cannons, which fire at enemies in front of him for a duration, dealing kinetic gun damage. With that quick thing, any passives that have plus kinetic gun damage obviously will help out this Peacebreaker cannon, so keep that in mind. You can hold your action skill down to end the Peacebreaker cannons and partially refund your action skill, so that's great. When it comes to what skills you're going to go into, Deft Hands, so you're able to get that 20% boost to you and your Peacebreaker cannons fire rate. Yurga, so whenever Rafa critically hits an enemy, action skill duration is restored. That includes his Peacebreaker cannons. We're running Maestro for increased skill damage, 27% with those max stacks. I put in 4 points into Resiliencia for that overdrive skill bonus. Rafa gains increased damage reduction while overdrive is active. It's 25% boost currently. Then we're going to move down into the important part of this skill tree, and that is going to be his left side. First off, asymmetric warfare. Indirect projectiles gain increased damage. Indirect projectiles include all action skill weapons, thrown guns, and projectiles not fired from your gun. So this is going to obviously boost our Peacebreaker cannons, but it's also going to boost those projectiles that we see from our Fireworks shield. Those are projectiles that is not fired from our gun, so they receive that bonus. Insane for Rafa, just because, again, getting, you know, just a 45% boost to your Peacebreaker cannons just for them constantly shooting is insane. But when we mix it with our augment and our capstone, we'll talk about here in a second, it's absolutely stupid. Errant Spark. All indirect projectiles deal bonus incendiary damage. If the indirect projectile already deals incendiary damage, double the bonus damage. It's a 40% bonus, so obviously if they already deal that, you know, fire damage, it's going to be an 80% boost. Obviously huge for that fire version of our fireworks shield. Definitely have this maxed out. It's just really nice for just bonus damage, especially again with your Peacebreaker cannons, since all those projectiles are going to be considered indirect projectiles. And then 1 point into lateral plinking so that we are able to get indirect projectiles a chance to ricochet. Going into the right side, we're going into Barrage. I'll explain why we picked this one. Overdrive skill, Rafa gains increased splash damage while Overdrive is active. Typically, I would say go into Everdrive because Overdrive, it will receive a increased duration boost. But unfortunately, with the Dancer Comm, as soon as we end our action skill, we lose that Overdrive bonus. So there's no point in that duration. So this is kind of just a way to get ourselves down. Obviously, you can combine this with different things. Let's say use Bullet Buddy Deluxe with those, you know, exploding bullets. That'd be really great. Or just like, you know, an explosive weapon obviously would be really great, but this is more just getting us down to a specific skills. Temerario, overdrive skill, Rafa gains increased gun damage but decreased gun handling for each stack. Rafa gains a stack every second overdrive is active, losing all stacks when overdrive ends. Currently with the plus in my Dancer Comm, I'm getting 8 per second to gun damage and minus 8% per second to my gun handling, up to 10 stacks as an 80% bonus for ourselves to that gun damage. Really nice. And then finally, Soltado, kill skill, double all overdrive bonuses. Obviously insane on top of our Dancer Comm. And then the fact that Dancer Comm also puts an additional point into this is absolutely stupid. I actually don't even know if this is doubling or tripling our overdrive bonuses. I just know it's a really big number. Now, while we're still in Red Tree, let's talk about our augment and our capstone. First up, our augment Instinto, Rafa's Peacebreaker cannons gain increased critical hit chance. And then when we activate our action skill, those cannons are active, causes them to gain critical hit chance and critical hit damage, while also causing them to drain faster. But that's okay because our kill skill that's below that, killing an enemy causes Rafa to restore action skill duration, while also causing his action skill duration to drain faster. Trust me, you're able to keep it up quite a lot, especially in combination with Yurga. Do you know you actually, again, can put on Bullet Buddy Deluxe if you want? While your cannons are active, Rafa and his allies regenerate ammo into their magazine, and the cannons deal bonus incendiary damage based on how full his gun is, and his turrets shoot exploding bullets while his magazine is full. And then whenever you activate that action skill again, causes all Rafa's shots to consume no ammo, but causes action skill to drain faster. Personally, it's just these two are up to you. What do you want to use? What are you more comfortable with? I just like to run Instinto because it's a little less management. I'm able to just like click F and to be done. Versus this where I'm like constantly having to kind of focus on F button just because I know I'm gonna have to keep up that unlimited ammo. And then when it comes to our capstone, double auto shot on that left side. Rafa's Peacebreaker cannons are replaced with shotguns that deal increased damage and have an increased pellet count. Additionally, Rafa's turrets gain a chance to ricochet off targets, and ricochets deal reduced damage and critical hits always ricochet. Obviously insane for that, you know, +6 pellet count. You're getting 196 per shot. It's really good with all the other, you know, increases to skills and everything that we have throughout our tree. So this is, I mean, from the get-go, I was like, this is going to be really dumb. And what do you know? It's really dumb. We still have 10 points here. We are going to put those other 5 into the Thrill Overdrive skill. Rafa gains increased fire rate, which is increased even further while Overdrive is active. This is in his blue tree. And then the final 5 points into Expedite in the green tree. Overdrive skill, Overdrive grants Rafa increased movement speed. Big reason why we want this is for a specialization perk that we're going to talk about here in a quick second. Now, when it comes to your specializations, I recommend, again, this is like one of those things that's kind of weird. Specializations cost so much iridium to reset that, you know, gets a little bit like tricky on like where you want to start. I think most players would benefit from starting on the runner and sharpshooter side because you can go down to Daredevil, but let's talk about these two really fast before we go into Daredevil. First off, we're gonna add enough points into the runner side so we get down to Bullet Train. The Vault Hunter can now hip fire while sprinting and gain gun damage the faster they move. Obviously, we were talking about the Expedite skill. This is really great, pretty much turning Rafa into Zane with that violent momentum, violent speed skill from back in the day. Oh my gosh, or Supersonic Man as well. It's just so nice to be able to sprint around like crazy and just see your gun damage just absolutely skyrocket. We're also going to add in the zone just for now. This is going to be one I'm probably going to swap out here as soon as I'm able to get down the Daredevil tree a little bit. But while aiming, the Vault Hunter gains increased gun damage, critical hit damage per second. Bonuses are lost after 2 seconds while not aiming. Not really important because we're mainly going to one shot, one kill. Kill skill, excess damage will be stored and added to your next gun shot. Excess damage stored 100%, store duration 12 seconds, definitely good. And then we're going down into this Daredevil section. Now with caffeine is absolutely dumb with the triple bypass rep kit. Reduce action skill cooldown whenever a rep kit is activated. I really love this because pretty much as soon as my action skill goes down, I can just click on those 3 rep kits and have my action skill immediately back with this. And it's great because the triple bypass itself allows me to get those charges back very easily by just, killing enemies. So it's a really good combo. Obviously, as I'm going down this tree, I am a gun. Action skill damage now benefits from increases in gun damage, would be insane to have, as well as hone mine action skills, gain a chance to critically hit enemies, and also gains increased action skill crit hit damage, which is obviously really good as well. So we'll eventually probably put all 3 of these in there, but at least for now, we're going to jump back to our equipment real quick to talk about what firmware we have on. Firmware is a new part of the game where essentially you add these, essentially, like, I wouldn't say as anointments, but kind of anointments to your gear here down below. It can only spawn on these 5 pieces of gear, but essentially it gives you gear sets. I have a 3-piece Deadeye for 30% increased gun accuracy, 25% increased gun critical damage, and every critical hit grants a 15% critical damage per stack for maximum stacks of 5 for 10 seconds. Really solid for just like keeping up high damage. And then also trick shot, gun reload speed is increased by 5%, and then gun critical damage is increased by 10%. So there you have it. So far, I've been using this build on Ultimate Vault Hunter 3. I can't really recommend for anybody to really go through a lot of the Ultimate Vault Hunter levels because it's a really bad part of the end game right now. It's just not a fun process whatsoever. It definitely is going to be one of those like measuring contests for creators in the community. Oh, mine can do this, mine can do that. Well, I could probably guarantee that this one's could go all the way to 5. I just don't really have the wherewithal right now to go all the way up to 5 because again, it is really awful. And also, when I'm going between my different save files on Rafa, those levels aren't account wide. You have to do them on each individual save. So it's kind of frustrating because I got to 4 on one of them and I was like, oh crap, I can't transfer it to this other character. Don't really want to deal with it. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. But again, this one can go all the way through base game, all the way up to Ultimate Vault Hunter 3 with little to no issues. So there you have it. This is the setup. This is going to be version 1. We're obviously going to update it with time, with different things that we, come up, whether we get, level cap increases, we find out a new weapon's really solid with it, anything like that. So just be, subscribe, become a member so you can be all up to date whenever that happens. Also give a thumbs up on the video and let me know something you're interested in seeing down below, whether it's for Rafa, Vex, Amon, or Harlow. And make sure you follow me over on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch at Birdman778. Guys, thank you so much for watching this first video. I will also mention, currently we cannot transfer save files. So if you ask me in the comments down below, where's the save file? It's not going to be there. Like they took it out of the game. Can't currently share save files. So just throwing that out there. Anyway, have a great night, day, or whatever it may be.